So this week I took the dogs for a walk at Rotten Chapel. It's become famous because of the Da Vinci Code, but this is such a beautiful place to walk, especially in springtime when the buds are blooming, the grass is green, and everything is just so peaceful. So I thought that I would finally get around to changing the red tile in my kitchen. I've talked a lot in the past that I find it to be a little bit too jarring in my house. It doesn't really go with the rest of the decor. Everything else is pretty muted and soft, and it's kind of harmonious. In the kitchen with the red tile, to me it's just too bright, too in your face, so I've wanted to change it for a while. Also, when I'm creating videos in the kitchen, I just feel like it is very, very obvious, and it kind of dominates the whole room. So I wanted to change that for a while. I bought these peel and stick white tiles from Amazon. I've got 10 packs of these, and if it works out, it will be a pretty good cheap solution. But I've never done this before. I am very nervous. I've had these for about 7 weeks, and the reason why I haven't done it yet is because I've kind of been putting it off. The thing that I'm most nervous about is actually getting the tiles around the plug sockets. I don't know how to unscrew the plug sockets. They're not the type of screw sockets, so that's going to be a challenge for the first thing. And then I'm not really very good at technical things, so cutting around and that kind of thing is making me nervous. But we have to try, otherwise we never know whether it will work or not. And the good thing about these tiles is that I think they're pretty easy to, once you place them on, you can take them off quickly and then readjust if you need to. So what I'm going to do first is prep the tiles, clean them, remove everything from the kitchen onto the island so that we've got a clean, clear space, and we'll see how this works out. So I thought that I would give you a little garden update. So since the last garden makeover video, part 1, quite a lot has changed, to be honest. It was completely bare, if you remember. Well, now it is starting to fill up. And I'm wondering, instead of doing a garden makeover reveal part 2, I should just keep showing you bits as it goes on, because otherwise I think it's going to go on for too long and it might become frustrating. So I think that is the best thing to do. I don't really want to rush making over this garden, spending money on things that I don't really want. So I think it's best if I just slowly take my time, make sure I'm spending my money wisely, and not just rushing to get a video done. So I think what I'll do is every time that there is progress in the garden, I'll share it with you, which I think will be more fun. And then over the course of the summertime, I'll also be doing quite a lot of videos in the garden, so you'll get to see it there as well. So I've now got a new table and chairs, which is from a company called Garden Trading. It's a very good, reasonable price. I'll link that in the description below. I like this style because it kind of matches the colour of the front door. I saw them a lot in the Cotswolds when I was visiting there. They use them in quite a few of the chic farm shops and restaurants, and I just think they're very timeless, classic table and chairs. I do need to get cushions for them, so I think I've seen some in IKEA that I'm going to get. Also, I've got a few Buxus plants, so I've got some lollipop topiaries and then some round ball topiaries, and that was the plan for that corner there. I like the way that it fills up that space, and also when they're put into their pots, that will take up even more space. And then as time goes by, I may start to add little bits of colour with smaller pots dotted around with different types of flowering plants, just to mix it up and go from season to season. And then finally we've got my 2 bay trees, which I got from my friend's store, Grow Urban, here in Edinburgh. I actually walked these home. The store is about 10 minutes walk, and I knew that they wouldn't fit in the car, so I walked them home. That was an interesting journey. I was getting a lot of strange looks as I was walking up the road carrying 2 trees under my arms, and they were quite heavy as well. With the wind blowing here in Edinburgh, I almost got blown away, but yet they're here in one piece, and I think they really transform this space, giving it height, some greenery, and just a bit of formal elegance. So even though the progress is slow and I haven't really done a lot, I think already it's starting to look like a beautiful courtyard, so it's very exciting. I just seem to want to spend as much time as I can out here, even though in Edinburgh the weather isn't amazing. We've got a little bit of sunshine here, lots of clouds. It's so unpredictable. That's the most frustrating thing about living here. I know that now in London it's blazing with sun, and here we get the kind of sporadic clouds and sunshine. But hey ho, there's always something that has to give, right? So I hope that you've enjoyed seeing the garden. Yeah, I'm feeling like it's a very happy space for me, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun times here. I'm excited to share them with you. One of the things I quite enjoy doing is clipping these topiary, shaping them. I have got a few in my parents' house in their garden. They've got some of these and I've clipped them before, and one of my neighbours also has them too, and I did hers. They're quite easy to do. I always start off just by taking off the excess here and then kind of going with the shape of the topiary. So I'm just gonna, like this, just take off this excess, which is good for growth as well. And then once you've taken off the excess, you can start to shape more intricately. I think the trick with this also is not to go too scissor happy and just take your time, keep stepping back and making sure that you're not cutting too much away. There's nothing worse than when you go to the hairdresser and they cut too much hair. So I'm conscious of not giving them too much of a trim. But what I like about this is that it's very, for me at least, therapeutic. I find it relaxing. It's nice to be outside. It's quite sunny and warm. So this is a nice chore, a nice task that relaxes me and gives me a chance to spend some time in the garden. It's Saturday morning. I'm still ploughing on with trying to get the tiles finished in the kitchen. It's so much harder than I expected it to be. The trickiest thing is cutting around all of the plugs and things that are stuck to the wall. So there's like a temperature thermometer gauge on the wall, which is for the central heating and hot water, and that is stuck. You can't take that off. So I've had to try and cut around that, which has been a real hell, to be honest. So yeah, I thought I'd come to the garden, have a little break. It's stunning in here. It's so beautiful. It's gorgeously warm, and there's a nice breeze which isn't too cold. So it's a nice little break for me here. I went out with some friends last night for cocktails. That was fun. So I had a little bit of a lay-in this morning, which is nice. I never usually lay in, so that was a nice little treat. And also, what do you think about this kind of more vloggy style section of the video? I think sometimes I'm so obsessed with making my videos perfect and cinematic that it's hard for me to fill up content because I'm so obsessed with making them absolutely beautiful. But I've been watching quite a few YouTubers lately, and they do this vlog style where they just hold the camera and go through their day-to-day lives. And what do you think about me including more of that style of content here? If you think that would be fun, let me know, because it would be a real help for me to fill up content. And you know, there's lots of times that I'm just out and about walking or going to a store, and I could actually film that in this style and not have to worry too much about it looking too perfect, which is what I always do. So let me know what you think, and if you want that, I'll start including more of this in the videos. So I thought that it would be a good idea to get some new kitchenware. Being as the kitchen is now looking a lot better, I'll show you the result of the kitchen in a minute. I have a hob kettle, which is like a traditional one that whistles when it's ready, when it's boiled, when the water's boiled, and it takes so long. So I decided that I needed to get a new kettle. Also, I've had a few comments about the kettle looking a little bit old, and it does. But when you put a kettle on top of a hot flame, it's going to get brown from being hot. So that's just a natural process of that type of kettle. But yeah, it is looking a little bit crummy, so I thought I'm going to get an electric kettle again. The reason why I opted for the stove kettle in the first place is because I have a real pet peeve about wires all over the kitchen, and especially in such a small space, when there's wires all on the countertops, it drives me crazy. So I wanted to eliminate those a little bit. But yeah, I think it's definitely time for an electric kettle again, so I've got one of those. And then I needed to get a new blender, because the one that I've got, it's got a little crack in the container, so when I'm trying to make smoothies, it's leaking out. So it's time to get a new blender. Just received a delivery from Salter, the kitchenware brand, and I'm excited to see what we've got. So I thought that I would just share and unbox with you right now. So let's do it. Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's nice. And with this blender, I do make quite a lot of smoothies. I chop a lot of vegetables for crudités and other recipes, as you know from watching me here. So when my blender broke, I did miss it a lot. I use it so much. So this will be so nice to start making smoothies again and being able to chop up vegetables. So lots more cooking in the kitchen, and I'm super happy about getting this. So, welcome to the new kitchen. I think you'll agree that it looks totally different now that we have the white tiles rather than those red ones. I think that it's just made such a difference, and I'm so happy with how it's turned out. It's actually quite strange keep walking in here because it's really, really bright, and it was quite dark before. It's amazing how much colours make such a difference in the house, and how much darker colours absorb light, and like this is really reflecting all of the light in the room. It might not appear to be bright in here on camera. It's always tricky to get that right, but it's definitely made an improvement, and I think I'll be a lot happier making videos in here now. I always do enjoy cooking and baking and sharing recipes, but I really detested filming in this kitchen because it just didn't look right on camera with the red. So I'm really, really happy that now I can use this room a lot more and feel confident and happy in here. So it's going to really change my life in a little way, but in a way that's very valid and important. Let me tell you about my experience of actually installing these tiles. I found it really hard, to be honest. I don't have a logical brain. I was never good at maths at school. So to cut round all of the plugs and make sure that everything fits and is aligned took me a long time. And it's not something that I want to do again. But I would say that if you rent a house, people always ask me, are you allowed to do these changes in a rental house? And I did seek permission before I made any change. I do seek permission before I make any changes in my house, but I pay a lot of money to live in this house, and I have to be happy here. So I think as long as you can reverse everything that you do, then you should be able to do what you want. I think that's if someone wants you to live in their house and essentially pay for their mortgage, then you have to have a good end of the deal as well. And I don't see it as wasting money. This brings me joy and pleasure. It makes my life better. It makes me happy. So whilst I can only afford to rent a house, I'll always be happy to invest a little bit of my time and money in it to make sure that I'm living a happy life, because that's really the most important thing, I think. And yep, so these tiles can very easily be taken off. They just stick on and they don't leave any residue. I've had these up for about 3 days, and I did test and pull them off, and yeah, it seems that they're going to be okay. So I'm not worried about ruining the red tile. So I would highly recommend, if you are looking to change up your decor in a little way, if you have some ugly tiles that you don't like, this is a really good solution. It just takes a little bit of time and patience, and you'll get the knack of it, and it will end up being a good result. But I do want to confess, so this is a perfect example of how the internet and social media can be only showing the best parts of someone's life. So you know the phrase Instagram versus reality? Well, this is a perfect example of that. So it's looking so beautiful, but actually I ran out of tiles, and there's a huge gap here that you can't see. I'll show you now. And yeah, so I'm waiting to receive my next pack of tiles and I'll be able to finish it off. But this just goes to show that cameras can, if you put the camera at a particular angle, you can make life seem different than it actually is. So I thought that I would share that because I thought it was quite funny. I did panic thinking, oh my god, I'm not going to be able to put the video out because the tiles aren't done. But yeah, when you put the camera this way, it looks pretty nice. Here is the new kettle in the kitchen. I think it looks pretty cute, and this is my kind of tea station here. So I've got my little tray with all my teas on, and then a teapot and a little tea tray there. And then I just thought that I'd show you this. So these tiles, the first day that I assembled this part, I then cooked in the evening, and the flame from the hob kind of sparked and hit the back of this tile here. And even though it's very minimal, you can see, I did realise that it's quite dangerous, so my solution was to put the tray there, which will protect the backsplash and stop the house from burning down. So yeah, I think it looks quite nice as well. So that is that. And then, yeah, so I'm pretty happy with this. So I thought, being as it's been so long since I've been able to have a smoothie, I would use my new blender and make one. So yeah, I have washed this out because I know that people will definitely be asking me if I washed it out. I've washed it out, rest assured. So I'm just gonna add in 2 of these small bananas, and then I've got some protein powder, which is orange and vanilla flavour, but it does have a hint of orange as well. I always like to have one of these when I have been to the gym for a boost of protein. Always helps. So yeah, bananas, and then I've got coconut milk, which is my favorite plant-based milk. I used to be plant-based, and this is my go-to milk for smoothies. It just gives a sweetness. I never really measure my smoothies, just go with what feels right, so I'm probably just going to add about that much, and then if I need to add more I can. Protein powder. I think I'm supposed to add in about 1/4 of a cup. Yeah, because this is a Dutch brand, it's hard for me to know, so I'm just going to put in 1/4 of a cup for now. A little bit more extra protein. And then some peanut butter. Okay. I do prefer the crunchy one, but I couldn't find that last time, so I'm just going to use the smooth. A little bit more. Oh, the weather here today, again, is so bad for spring, and I just feel like I'm dying. I'm always wearing like thick jumpers, but I definitely need them because it's freezing. So I think I'm probably going to need a little bit more of this. And let's whip this up. It's like a delicious milkshake, but healthy. Wow, thank you so much for joining me again. I hope that you've enjoyed this vlog, I suppose. It was a bit of a mishmash of things, but I hope you enjoyed it and seeing the kitchen in its new state. So next week, when I receive the new pack of tiles, I will finish it off and it'll be completely done, so I'm excited about that. So yeah, have a really great end to your weekend and have a good week next week, and I'll be over on Instagram all week, so if you want to follow me for more updates, do check out Instagram. Also on TikTok as well, I'll be sharing some short videos. So until next week, I will see you soon, but take care. Bye bye.